Ramblin Bob here again. So we're going to talk about solar power. Yes, my favorite new hobby ever. I literally fell in love with the solar power stuff. It's changed my life. Okay, so we're going to look at these two things, which is the Pecron E2000LFP and the E1500LFP. Now, the 1500 is obviously the new updated system. Now, I want to talk about the differences because some of the people that were sending me questions, I don't think they understand fully what the differences are, or that there's that many differences. I have a list of 18 things that are either upgraded or better or different on the E1500LFP as opposed to the original one, the E2000. Now, everybody knows on this channel I have the full 8K 8 kilowatt hours of 2 batteries and the main system. I would love to get and test the E1500LFP. All the ideas that went into this model literally are the ones that I had in an old video of asking people what options would be cool, and I made a list, and 90% of what the options are now that are available was in my video. So obviously Pecron is listening, and that's the best thing we can do, is have these companies listen to what we want and listen to what we don't want. I think that's the most power that we have as far as a voice in this community. Okay, we're going to go right down the line. You obviously have, let's see, number one is the UPS. So that's the uninterruptible power supply. So this model here does not have it. The original E2000 does not have a UPS. Why that's important? Guys, if you want to have it hooked to the grid all the time and you have, you know, things that are very important, food, medical equipment, security systems, databases, you know, things that just, they have to be hooked to the grid for safety. And then if the grid were to drop on, you know, God forbid, that's where the UPS jumps in and allows you to maintain that power output until the grid is either restored or the circuit is popped back on, or whatever the instance is. I mean, you could get a bolt of lightning and it hit the pole, and it takes out either the transformer, or you get a shock in the line where it pops your circuit, and, at 3 o'clock in the morning, and from 3 to whenever you wake up, right, you have no power. So the uninterruptible power supply does exactly that, uninterrupted, which means everything keeps going until you wake up in the morning. You walk over to your system to check on it, which I hope is a daily occurrence for all you guys out there. Always check your solar stuff, guys. Electricity is very dangerous, if not obviously deadly. And then you would notice that the UPS little logo right here is not on. I think it's right there. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. Let's see, right there. Okay, so it's right there in the top, guys, right there. Actually, you know what? Let me bring these bad boys up here. I'm getting older, so I can't really see so good. There you go. Now you got nice, good pictures, and you can see the outputs and the very, very forward view, which is better than the original one. Okay, so that's the uninterruptible power supply. Fantastic feature if you have anything important or medical. Okay, number two is a newer technology. And what I mean by that is, obviously Pecron has had their hiccups with stuff. We had those cascading cables. I coined the term the lunchbox on that huge power supply that they had that would probably weigh probably half as much as I do. They've slimmed it down a little bit, and they put newer technology, and it works on generators now that are a little bit more unstable as far as output power, because sometimes the generator, like I have a nice Honda, the E2000LFP, I'm sorry, the E2000, the EU2000. Boy, these numbers, they get mixed up in your head, guys. The Honda EU2000, it is a lifesaver. I've had it for probably more than 10 years. It has started every single time I've ever went to start it. I can, bring out 600 watts on idle, all the way up to about 1600 rated, which is a standard outlet in a house, up to about 2000 surge. So that that's an awesome godsend product in case you ever need to charge batteries and stuff. So as far as the new technology, the bugs are worked out. The USB obviously is probably going to put out 100 watts. I've heard from Jasonoid already that it does put out 100 watts. I don't have a system. I just want to be clear about that. Not yet. Hopefully we're getting one soon. This stuff is expensive, guys. Holy cow, you could go bankrupt just buying this stuff. It's like a super candy, a super candy store. And it is absolutely, as you can tell by the excitement in my voice, guys, it is my new hobby in life. I really, really enjoy it. I've had a lot of hobbies in life, but solar power, to be able to harness the sun like that and hold power. I mean, when I was a kid, when I went camping, my God, I would have dreamed of stuff like this. We didn't even think it was possible. We had regular car batteries, and then you could run, a light bulb for 45 minutes, and then you were done. So, okay. So newer technology, guys. All the bugs seem to be worked out. Let's see. Oh, and I haven't heard. Some people said they heard that, that weird modem noise. Okay. When I put that new 120 volt board into my original 110 volt system, guys, I should make a video about it. I can hear very faintly a modem sound, guys, and what that is, I bet you, and I'm only theorizing, I bet you that's the communication internally trying to talk to the batteries or the system or whatever, and I think it's just a very crude communications device. I don't know yet. I'm still doing tests to see if I'm correct on that, but that's just my theory. Okay, number 3 is the app. That's a huge update for some people, guys. If you have 7,500 watt hours, or just under 7,600, which I think it is. I think it's like 7,590. Well, whatever it is, but I have to come in the room and I have to check on it, or I put a little camera ball on it, and I watch from my security system. Whenever I click on that video, I can see where it's at. And it is really nice to be able to just pick up your phone and have access to the on-off buttons. The firmware updates, that's huge, guys. I can't even explain how big that is compared to the first one that had a little bit of trouble, like with that 65 watt USB-C, and with one firmware update, now boom, it's 100 watts. I didn't get the firmware update, guys. It costs $100 to send one of these bad boys back in, so I was like, you know what, I didn't need it. I wish I could have had it. I was kind of mad that it's not 100 watts, but I really don't need it. So unfortunately, I'm stuck with the 65 watts. Oh, you guys get the 100 watts. So because I complained originally when I first got it. Even the other what was that? Hobotech, he complained about the E3000, that they just discontinued that one too. That one had 65 watt output and they never fixed it. And then the E2000LFP, he also said, and they didn't fix it until I hounded them, because that should be 100 watts. Guys, if you write 100 watts on something, that better be 100 watts. That's it. $5 for $5 a product. That's my old saying here. As far as the app goes, again, the firmware, you could turn on and off stuff from a distance and have it on your phone. You don't have to be right next to it. You don't have to use my technique, which is putting a security camera system on it so I can watch it 24 hours a day. And if I have any issues, I can go back and watch it. The huge thing is, I believe it's either Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, which means the Bluetooth, you can be within about 16 to 30 feet, depending on the strength of the Bluetooth and the rooms and the walls and whatnot. And the Wi-Fi, guys, if you were to put a system on the internet, I'm not a fan of that, guys. I like closed circuit systems. Those of you who know what that is, if you have a security system and it has a wire on it, you have to tap into the wire to get the information. But if it goes through the air, guys, all you need is the right software and hardware, and boom, you can pop right into there. That's kind of like how they hack Wi-Fi's. If you have your Wi-Fi out and some crazy nut pops on your Wi-Fi all of a sudden. That's how easy it can be done if you have the right knowledge and tools to do so, and the software. As far as Wi-Fi, though, you could, if you did do it, you could literally be around the world, and as long as you have internet access, you can link up with your system. Like, say, if you went on vacation and you were 1,000 miles away, you could literally pop up your phone and say, oh darn, I forgot to turn it off, I'll turn it off. Or you could turn it on at a certain time. Now, this is a pretty cool thing, guys. If you have a house that's very dark, okay, it's really cool to have lights on a timer or something like that. Think of the Home Alone movie, guys. When when you have all those artificial, hey, we're having a party here, you know what I mean? The light goes on, the people are dancing, Michael Jordan's running past the window. You know, that it's a thing where it's the illusion of somebody's home. And if I could turn on my power station and have that hooked to lights or something, and then, you know, for whatever reason. Or how about this? You're coming home, you're driving up the driveway there, and you grab your phone and you hit the power, and all your lights turn on in your house because it's hooked to your power station. Now you don't have to enter an empty, dark house. So that's kind of cool too. There's all kinds of ideas with this technology. I mean, my head is literally spinning, and I'm making as many videos as I can because I want to give as many ideas and get as many ideas as we can as a group, so we can really utilize this technology to the fullest extent. It's awesome. It really is. It really is. Okay, so number 4 is the 30 amp DC outlet. The 30 amp DC outlet, guys, is this right here. This is a XT60 12 volt 30 amp outlet. Now, guys, this system does not have that. However, it does have 2 of them on the EB3000 batteries. So you do still have access to that. It's just not on the front of the system. If you go to the side of the battery, you'll see a little XT60 plug. You plop it in there, and then you can have up to 30 amps out. So you still have the option. It's just in a much better place right here on the front of the system. I personally, it's just an opinion, I do not like any plugs or wires on the side of the unit, the bottom, the back. The sides are okay if they're the cascading cables. So because those cables are so darn thick, I'd rather have them on the side or in the back. Other than that, I want full access to the whole system. I want ports. I want plugs, inputs, outputs. I want the screen all on the front of the system, because if I choose to put this up against close to a wall, under a table, I don't have to go digging around, crawling underneath there. If I put it in a closet, in an RV, or a back room or something, you don't have to go digging around the side of it and get a flashlight. You can literally see the front of the unit, and all the ports are right there. The only thing that would be really cool, guys, if Pecron wants to steal this idea, take it and run with it. I'll love to use it on an updated version. Guys, what if you had illuminated port or sections, like say there's little dots here, right? That would basically light up just a little dot to kind of give you a clue of where this is in the dark. And that way you can have an idea of where to plug it in, or at least have a clue, so you don't have to pull your phone out every time. It would be really neat if the whole front end, like all the ports could, like you see these little yellow rings right here? If those all illuminated, wouldn't that be neat, guys? If you just, like, say you hit one button and all these things, kind of like just a little cheap LED. I think that would be cool. I don't know, it's just me. I think that would be cool. Let me go to the next one here, which is number 5, the 2200 watt AC inverter. Okay, so this system here has a 2000 watt AC inverter. The new one, the smaller one, has actually a larger inverter. Now that's a plus and a minus, guys. So the pluses are you have an extra 200 watts of headroom in case you go over that 2000 watts. When I use my system, guys, if I push it, like say I have a vacuum cleaner and the fridge kicks on and the freezer kicks on all at the same time or whatever, obviously it's going to go over that 2000, and it will trip it because you're trying to get like 2500 watts, and obviously you can't do that. And Pecron is famous, if you will, or infamous for having not a very strong surge time limit. Okay, you only have about literally maybe a second. So if you put a sump pump on or something very heavy, it better be quick, because that inverter will pop. Now the downside is if you don't expand the batteries to full, expand the systems to full capacity, which is 8 kilowatts here and about 7.5 kilowatts here, then you have a bigger inverter on a smaller battery, guys, and that drops the efficiency down. So when you have a larger power output on a smaller battery, it's more strained for the cells. However, when you expand them to full size, now you're looking at that percentage much narrower, as far as the difference between the inverter and the battery pack as a whole. So that's something to think about. Okay, number 6, battery balance on the fly. I'd like to personally thank Jason for testing this for me. I know he was following my channel for a while there, and he was watching all the tests and the crazy videos I was doing with my E2000. He tested having a system at 1 voltage and the battery at a different voltage, as long as it's kind of within, maybe 10% of each other as far as the voltage. And then it popped right away. Not popped. It changed the power meter instantly, guys. That is a awesome upgrade. That's worth the money in itself for the upgrade from me, because when I charge my system, I have exactly this setup. I have 600 watts on port 1 coming in on the E2000, and then 600 watts on the port 2 coming in. Now this is full setup, and I have 400 watts coming in on battery 1 and 400 watts coming in on battery 2. And what that does is that allows me to charge my full 8K system at 2,000 watts an hour if I have full input. That is awesome for a mid-market power station. I can't find another power station that can pull in that kind of power with that many options. And here's the big difference, guys. Since you have 2 ports here, port 1 and port 2, and then a port on your battery and another port on the second battery, guys, you can have 4 different flipping voltages. I have 60 volts on one. I have 48 on one. On one battery, I think I have like 72, which is like, oh boy, if I can remember, the 2 Pecron E300 panels in series. That's like 72 volts open. And then on the second battery, I have the 4 PV200 Bluetti panels, and those are in series parallel. Let's see, 2 per side, and that would be, I think that's right around 50 or 60 volts as well. I can't remember the actual voltage because the VOC is the one thing you always forget. What you're bringing it in at, that's always on your meter. But the open, because since they're always hooked up, I'd have to go back and check. But now here's the big difference. I can bring in all that power on 4 different strings with 4 different power amps and watts and voltages, and it all goes into the system together. I think that alone is a huge, powerful option on these Pecrons. Now on the new one, on the E1500LFP, you can have up to 700 watts on this one. Guys, I recommend you not using the 100 watt input if you have this maxed out to 7. The reason is this is such a low input. There's probably only 1 MPPT controller in this box, I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that these are hooked to the same board. And that way you get your 700. I mean, you might be able to get 800, but guys, it's just not worth it. I know it's a little bit extra power. It's just not. Because, you risk heating up that MPPT controller and burning it out. So, I mean, if you want to try it, it's up to you. I personally stopped using my barrel input, to put the extra 100 watts in there, because it just seemed to strain and put more heat in the system, and then the fans would turn on a little bit higher and hotter. So, now with that on the fly recalibration, if you will, you could put 700 here, 400 into the battery, 400 in the second battery. Guys, that's 1500 watts, right? Now you have a chance to fill this in a solar day. Literally, if you had perfect sun for 5 hours, 1500 times 5 is 7,500 watt hours. Now chances are, unless you're over paneling, you're not going to get that, but being that you have the opportunity to achieve that, that's huge, because other systems, they kind of stick you at, 500. Like that Oukitel that I had, it was 500 watts, and then you need 4 hours to charge it. So I look at being able to charge your full system in a solar day, and a solar day is only 5 hours. Now, obviously, you get more in the morning and more at night, but the real power, guys, is, depending where you are, mine's 10 to 3, it changes obviously with the season, but 10 to 3, that's 5 hours of where your money is coming from, your power from your solar. Okay, so let's go to another one. No power brick. Now there's a plus and a minus, guys. The huge plus that I can think of is you do not have to carry that gosh darn near 5-pound power brick with all the cables around with this system if you're going to transport it. If you can leave it in your house, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to transport it, you have to put it in a bag, right? And it doesn't have like a little cubby up here like the Oukitel. We can stick it in there and carry it that way. You have to always remember to bring it. And then you have to remember to not use that in a moist, wet area. You know what I mean? So if you set that on the floor and it's kind of wet, very dangerous. This one goes right from the AC, from the wall, the grid, right into the box. Nice. Another upgrade, which is like a part B, if I can Dewey Decimal System this. Notice that these have the old blade fuses. Very simplistic. Everyone has them usually around their cars. But this one has an actual tube fuse where you take a screwdriver, you twist this out, and then there's a tube fuse inside there. The blades are a little bit, I think, easier to deal with than these ones. I don't know. Maybe some people think it's the other way around. I don't like the glass tubes. I like the blade fuses. I like a circuit breaker better than that. Hopefully that's a circuit breaker in there, but it says fuse on it, so I'm going to assume that it's a fuse, a little glass, you know, with the two little silvers and the glass in the middle, and you see that little line going through, and that's the fuse. So when it heats up and pops, you got to take that out and put it back in. So if I had a choice between a fuse and a blade, I would take these blade, you know, quote-unquote blade fuses over this tube fuse any day. Only because these are so much easier. You don't have to worry about breaking them as much. They're fully plastic, where these are glass. Okay, so the next one is the Wi-Fi function. Oh yeah, we talked about that already. The E2000 doesn't have it, but as you see, the UPS and the Wi-Fi right here, you know, those are two functions that it has on the new system that it doesn't have on the old system. There's a lot of new stuff on this system, guys. I just wish I had the money to grab this whole system right now and all the batteries. I would love to review this system in full in real time for you guys, and for me too. So, okay. Number 9, it's possible to charge all 3 pieces without waiting for the power meter. Okay, we kind of mushed that into the other one where you can obviously have 3 different voltages going into that system, and it adjusts on the fly. Huge upgrade. That's a big thing. Okay, number 10. This is a very big upgrade if you own an RV or you're looking to adapt it to another system or power dump. The original E2000LFP, let me find my mouse here, okay, that has a 24-volt battery pack. Chemistry same, lithium iron phosphate on both of these systems. However, the E1500LFP has a 48-volt battery system, and that is hugely better for output and conversion ratio. Think of it this way. If you had one 48-volt panel, or 2 24 in series, or 4 12s in series, right? So when you take energy and you have to convert it to another voltage, obviously that's called conversion loss. You're going to lose a percentage of that power because you're always think about changing money, right? When you go to Coinstar or something like that, you put your money in there and they take 10 or 15%. Think of that when you think of voltage alteration. When you go from 48, what the panel is, down to 24, you're going to lose in that conversion. However, if you have a system that a 48 volt panel, let me get these big again, a 48 volt panel into a 48 volt battery pack, guys, there's not much conversion going on, right? So that's a huge plus as far as power loss. I noticed that when I take the same exact panel, okay, and I plug it into the E2000LFP, I would get a certain amount. And when I plug into the Oukitel, the same panel, right, 48 volts, I get a higher output of power, or actually a higher input of power from the panel, because it doesn't have to do that conversion. I hope that makes sense if I explained it good. Guys, I'm not a pro. I'm trying to use layman's terminology here the best I understand how to explain stuff. Okay, number 11. One other thing with that is the 48 volt output of your system is much easier to incorporate into an RV because RVs are usually 48 volt systems or more. So that's a plus, guys. And with that 12 volt 60 amp out right there, I mean, you could run that into an RV, or you can run, let me see, it doesn't have a straight 48 volt out, but being that the battery packs are that you don't lose in that, you know, quote unquote conversion when you go from this battery pack into your RV, if you're putting it into a 48 system that way. Hopefully they have from the batteries. I haven't seen too much of the batteries. Hopefully you can come straight out the batteries into an RV system. That would be kind of cool. You know, hot wire it with fuses or something like that. But okay, so number 11 is this is gonna be a long video, guys, and I apologize, but you know me, I ramble about my hobby. Okay, so the E2000LFP comes in at about 48 pounds. Now the new one, even though it's about 500 watt hours lighter, is actually about 8 pounds lighter. So that's a big difference if you have to carry it from you know, your house to your van or your RV or to your tent or cabin or what you're fishing. You say you have a big yacht or something, you want to put it on there. The batteries are still the same. They're about 60 pounds a piece. Whether you get the EP3000 or the EB3000, they're 60 pounds a piece approximately. I think they're like 61. It's a weird number, but it just, you know, ballpark at 60 pounds a piece. So if you can carry the batteries, you can obviously carry the main system. But I just thought, well, you know, it's 8 pounds lighter, so that way if you want to disconnect your E1500LFP and take it somewhere without the batteries, that's 8 pounds less you have to carry. That might help somebody. So I just wanted to put that information out there as far as, you know, it's 8 pounds lighter. Okay, so number 12 is a huge upgrade, and this is actually one of my ideas I had too. I emailed Pecron a long time ago. I also emailed Bluetti, and I noticed now that both of these companies, you know, that's fine, you can take my ideas, just make the technology better so we can use it. Both of these companies have right angle adjustable swivel cables. Huge upgrade, guys. The one thing I didn't like about the E2000LFP, well, there's two things, the power brick and the cables. The cascading cables are okay, but boy, they're big, and they have to be big and beefy because you're putting a ton of amperage through those batteries to run stuff. I mean, you could put out, I think it's like 80 amps can come out of one of these batteries. That'll wake you up for a long time, or put you to sleep, if you know what I mean, for a long time. So that's a plus, these right angle batteries. I think that's a huge upgrade. But at the same time, guys, I always want to play devil's advocate. I think that's a possible downgrade. And the reason for that is because I do have the original cables, which are longer and more bendable, which gives you more options for different configurations if so you choose. Now, if you look at their picture, let me go back to the, let me get out of here once so I can show more here. That way we got some motion on the screen here. We got this this non-moving screen video here by Bob here. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get this here. I'm trying to find the battery. Hold on. Let me make it full screen here, guys, if I can. Oh boy, I think I screwed up something here. Okay, I'm looking for this. Okay, I was looking for that, guys. I had to fight to get that. Okay, so notice that here's what I'm talking about. This is the right angle. I'm assuming that this can obviously stack this way or that way, but notice you have a little bit more options with this. Now, if these bend straight, then you could put the battery over here and put this here. That would help if you have a very skinny not so high shelf or something that you're going to put it on, where you can put the two batteries, like say over here, and then you put the main system here, or say you put the main system here, one battery over here, and then that battery behind it, to where it would only be this high, if that makes sense to you guys. I wish I could use my hands, but all I have is this mouse, and I'm still so stoked that I got the mouse to work. So like say you have your system here, now your battery would be straight across, and then that battery would be behind it in kind of a stack like this, kind of, but behind it. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain when you have a 2D screen, so I apologize. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so the next one is, let's see, 13. The whole battery pack looks like it can slide out and be replaced. Guys, I saw this really cool picture. I don't know if it's true. I didn't hear from anybody, Jasenoid included. Let me see if I can find a picture. It had a picture where right here. Okay, if you look at this picture, oh my gosh, all right, I'm fighting with it, guys. Oh, this technology. Okay, so this is a huge update if it does exactly what it says. I don't know if this is just for the picture, but this looks like, now let me find this picture here. Let me shuffle these bad boys so I can compare these here, guys. Okay. I don't know if it has one. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, so here's your input of this one. Oh boy, this technology. Okay. I'm having troubles with the mouse thing here. Okay, so that's as big as I can make it. So notice that this battery pack is inside there, but if you, now I've taken this system 100% apart. I've had jigsaw puzzle all over my workbench, and believe me, that is a lot of pieces in that little thing. It's very simplistic made, but there's a lot of wires and things like that, and they have to go back exactly the way you take it apart. You guys remember ever taking something apart and you put it back together and you go, oh, I got an extra screw here. That belongs somewhere, and you'll find out later that that was probably really important. Okay, so when I took this completely apart, you have to disassemble the entire, you can't see it, there's a main board right here that goes in the front. These are the actual controller board, the main motherboard, and then on top you have the AC inverters. So you have to take, no, wait, I'm sorry, hold on, let me, I'm sorry, the system is turned, that's why I didn't remember. This is the main motherboard with the AC inverters, guys. It was turned, because you have to turn it on its face, this downward when you take this apart, because the back pops off. So this is the main inverter board. You have to take off this, you have to take off this, and then you have to take off the bracket that holds down the battery, and then you have to unscrew, see these little silver things at the top of the little mouse circle? You have to take that and that off, and then there's 3 other ones, and then, only then, you can access the battery pack and take it off. It is a pain in the butt, guys. A lot of guys that take electronics apart for a living, they make it look so easy, of course. When I did it for the first time, man, I was frustrated trying to get that apart. But now, going back to what I was saying with this, it looks like, and it only looks like, I don't know, because I have not had this confirmed by anybody. Notice that the battery cells are sideways. This looks like a huge cell that might click in. Now, where this is a huge power update and a feature is if you could take off this panel, okay? If you can, notice that there's no fans or anything on this thing. So, if this picture is 100% correct, that's the theory. And to be able to just pull this battery straight out, I don't know if you can do that, but the picture kind of shows that. It might be misleading. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe some people can weigh in and let me know what they think. But it sure looks like this is a big AA battery that you can slide in, and maybe it hooks up to both the ports at one time. I don't know. It's just my theory because that's the picture they put up, and it certainly looks like you could do that. Okay, the next one is the batteries. The 48-volt battery packs. So, guys, if we can do, let's see here. Let me go here, and since I'm going to bring this up here, let's do one power station here and one power here. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I want to do multiple. Let's do the where is it? The EP for this one and the EB for this one, and that way we can look at these guys. There you go. My internet was a little lagging there. Oh, it's on sale again. Okay, so this is the EB3000 and this is the EP. Guys, this is huge. If you don't know what you're buying, ask questions. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. This is a 24-volt battery pack, and this is a 48-volt battery pack, guys. Do not make the mistake of hooking the wrong one to the wrong system, where you will not have a system, and it's probably not covered by warranty. I personally, I don't like warranties. You got to read all the fine print and all that stuff. Just try to do the best you can with their specs and their recommendations, and that way you have a better chance of fighting a warranty. Now, being that this is a 48-volt battery pack in the new one, this is a huge plus. If you don't have one of these big systems yet, if you were to buy the E1500LFP right now, and say you bought one battery, just one expansion battery or 2, it's up to you. I mean, your system is obviously needed for what you need it for. If you had the batteries already, the 3600 is going to, according to this, if we go down here and you read the description, it says right here clearly the EP3000 48 volt is an expansion battery for use in the E1500 LFP and E3600 LFP and cannot be used with the E2000. So guys, that is a huge plus and a money saver. One of the biggest drawback slash okays that I was hoping that the system would use the same 24 volt battery pack so I can hook up that system, the E1500 LFP, to my pair of EB3000s. Now that it's 48 volts, guys, I have to go out and purchase new batteries. So if you did buy this system and you said, you know, doggone it, I like it, I'm going to buy the E3600. Then you take the E1500 LFP, this model. Let me get back to them. Let me close these here. You get back to these, and then you take your E1500 LFP to wherever you want and use it as a standalone model. Just the actual, let me get back to this one, small power station, right? A 1500 watt power station, little baby one. Well, that's actually big for some folks. I'm kind of spoiled now. Sorry, I'm chasing this stuff. You can use this by itself, and then you can take the battery or batteries, plural, that you bought for this system and apply it to the new E3600 LFP when it comes out. Now that's cool because then you're only risking $900 investment as opposed to what I did, $4,500, and now I can't use my batteries on the new systems. I should have figured that they were, going to do that, but I personally, I love the E2000 LFP. I've used it for a year. I've made more than, I don't even know, hundreds of hours, people that watch this channel, of using this system and ripping it apart and putting it back together. I enjoy the system. I like the E600 LFP too. But that's a very, very educated investment because, like I said, you can use this top part separately, right? Charge it, or you can hook it back up to the batteries if you want it. So that gives you more options. And when it comes to the solar stuff, guys, the more options you have, oh my God, the better it is, because I guarantee you're going to want to either expand or change your system. I started with a little 640 watt hour power station, and now I have 11 of them in front of me. Like, your wants and needs, they will change. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. Trust me, it will change. You'll start out saying, I want to power this little radio. Oh, then I want to power my tool. I want to power a sander. Oh my gosh, I want to power my fridge. Now I want to power 3 fridges. Your wants and needs of solar energy will change no matter what you think. That's a positive and negative thing, I know, but it's a reality. It's kind of like when you first get your driver's license, you go 10 miles an hour, you're scared to death. Next thing you know, you go 20. Next thing you know, you're doing 90, and you got your first ticket for way too fast, right? That's just the nature of the beast when you go with quote-unquote power. You always want more and more and more. And in this case, it's obviously the power is the watt hours or the output power. Okay, so the next one, let's go to, what are we on here? Number 15. Okay, so 1400 watt AC charging. Okay, this is a huge thing, guys. The new one here can charge at 1400 watts from the wall. See this here? 1400 watts AC charging, and then 1.8 hours super fast charging. That obviously does not include the 2 batteries that you're going to hook to this thing. If you're going to do that, you obviously have to times that by a lot more. Take 5, 6, 7 hours. But this one here, this one tops out on my chargers. I have a lunchbox and an updated charger, 600 apiece, and you don't always get 600, guys. I get 1,060 watts between the 2 of them when I hook them up, port 1, port 2 on the E2000 LFP. So, being that you have 1,600 and this is 1,400, that's nice, guys. That's more energy that you can have, 340 watts input more if you have a situation where, I got to get this energy in there. Not to mention, on top of that, you could put another 700 watts of charging. But I have a feeling, oh no, wait, yeah, because they're separate. I don't know if you could do, you know what, I'll have to ask Jason right, if you can do them together here. Let me read the let me see here, let me read the specs. Where are the specs? All right, these are the money makers here. Let's see here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, 1500. Just checking to see. Okay, it doesn't say. So that's a question I have for Jasonoid or Hobotech or whoever I talk to next. I don't know if you can do them at the same time. On the E2000LFP, you can either have 2 from the wall or 2 from the solar. However, this is a modification slash pro tip that I figured out for myself. I can have the 2 chargers either going into the batteries from the wall and then 2 arrays going into the E2000 or vice versa. So, you know, to hurry up and get that energy in there, and then I'm back to my 2000 here, and then you have 1500 total here of solar, and then hopefully you can put the AC as well. But that's one that we have to verify, because that's just a theory of mine. But I'm only going off the specs of their paper, and that's all you can do until you have a system in front of you where you can rip it apart and do those tests. Okay, let's see, number 16 comes with 12-volt alligator clips for charging. Okay, guys, I don't remember getting an alligator set in this. I know I have 2 of them, but I do remember getting 1 set per battery. So this one, I believe, if you go down, let me see if it's, let's go to the bottom here. Looking for in the box. Where's in the box? Okay, in the box. Sorry, I should have had this all known ahead of time, guys. I don't know. I don't remember where I saw it, guys. It was something like, let's see, ship, take, okay, let's see here. You also have the charge through on both systems, guys. You can charge it and use it at the same time. Obviously, that puts more strain on the battery cells, but it's good because you can have energy coming in as you're using it. Doggone it, where did I see that? Let's see here. Okay, let me check here. Let me check. I'm sorry, guys. Reviews, specs, features. Let me look in the description again. Maybe it was in there. Okay, I'm sorry. Here it is. So I found it. So you get, see, 12-volt alligator clips. Okay, so that means this would be in the description as well. Let's see. See if their packing list is in here. Okay, yeah, there you go. So notice you have the AC charger, which is the lunchbox on the original one, and now the new updated one. Car charging cable, which is the cigarette one to the barrel. MC4 to adapters, which are the 5-pin aviations. User manual and accessory pouch. I noticed this one doesn't say accessory pouch, guys. The accessory pouch that you got with these and the batteries, really nice pouches, guys. Very durable. The zippers are very tough to open, which is good because then they're more waterproof, shed kind of thing. So this one doesn't seem to come with the pouch, but it does come with the alligator clips. I don't know which one I would prefer. This is nice if you were stuck. You know, if you were stuck, you'd want the alligator clips over this fancy pouch. But now that we know, according to the packing list here, that this one does not come with the alligator clips, so you can charge up your battery if it's dead and, you know, get out of a bad situation if you had it in your vehicle. And this one doesn't come with the pouch, so you got to carry all these cables separate according to their packing list. We're going to have to wait and see the unpacking somewhere fully to see if it does come with that or not. I didn't see it yet on any review that I've watched. Okay, so number 17, 48-volt battery pack is much easier to hook up to the RVs. Yes, we went over that already. You can also, here's another thing that's, because I have a comma here, can hook to diesel heaters. Okay, so this 12-volt output right here, I wish it had a 24-volt output, guys. That would be awesome at 30 amps. But that's a lot of power. So this 12-volt, let me get this, let's make it big again here. This 12-volt XT60 with the 30 amp, guys, you can run that into a diesel heater, and those of us who live in these cold climates know how awesome a diesel heater is. They have them in almost every semi truck with a cab in the entire country. And my uncle used to drive. Well, I have family members that still drive truck. The heat that comes out of a diesel heater, guys, is unflippin' believable. It is. They're totally safe. Diesel is much safer than gasoline, of course, because the old saying is you have to help it start on fire, if you know what I mean. That's why they have glow plugs. Diesel gas doesn't like to start on fire. You have to have a very, very hot source in order for it to ignite, which is why you ever seen on a diesel, for those of you who don't know, a diesel have those crazy little cords hanging out the front of the truck or whatever, the van or the box truck that they have, and you basically plug that into the wall and then you start your diesel truck. That would also come in huge handy if you have a diesel and you can use this power station or any power station to heat up those glow plugs so you can get the heck out of Dodge if your vehicle didn't have enough battery pack in the your actual battery for your vehicle. Okay, and then you have let's see, 18 is 3 charging ports if you use the EP3000 battery ports. So we talked about that already, that it has this port, which is 700, and then the port on the battery and the port on the battery. And being that this system can adapt on the fly and this one cannot, that's a huge upgrade. I think that concludes all of the ideas that I wrote, at least what I wrote on paper here, guys. I know this is a long video. It's 45 minutes long, and if you like to hear me ramble, I love to talk. I wish I had the money to buy this system. Maybe Santa Claus will, be good this year and bring me one for Christmas. If I look under the tree and there's 3 big Pecron boxes under there, I will not complain, and I will open them and use them immediately. But I think a $900 investment, guys, compared to what I have invested in all my stuff, holy cow, I would put $900 into a system now compared to what I put in before. But that's the game, guys. Solar power will be a learning curve like anything else. If you pick up a bicycle, you're not going to get the bike riding the first time you try it. It's going to be a few times. That's what these reviews and these discussions and these opinions are for, is to help you. It's not to make a decision for you guys. It's to help you figure out what decision is good for you. None of these power stations might work for you, right? You may live a lifestyle that's so quote-unquote elegant that you have so much power. Like, I'll give you a prime example. I had a scriber say that they use about 20,000 to 40,000 watt hours of electricity in their house per day. Oh my gosh, I guess I'm old-fashioned, guys. If I had that kind of electric bill, I would probably have a heart attack. So just think of that. 1 kilowatt right now is about 16.5 cents. You times that by 40 every day, your bill would be hundreds of dollars a month. So I would instantly be like, okay, well, we don't need this and we don't need this. Do you guys remember when your pops used to say, you weren't born in a barn, close the door, don't stand there with the fridge open, turn off the light if you're not in the room? He was only trying to save money the way he was raised and the way he knew how. My pops was the same. He taught the value of a dollar very young. My grandma was the same way. A penny saved is a penny earned. That's an old saying. Like literally, if the power stations are out of your reach, guys, get a jar. This sounds very childish. Get a jar. Every time you buy gasoline or food or anything, take that change, and instead of putting it into something silly out there, put it in a small jar, and before you know it, you will have $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 in that jar within a year, because you're putting in maybe $1.50 a day. That's up to $500 a year. I mean, it can add up that quick. It's just change, guys. I remember, holy cow, I remember a time, you guys remember those Culligan water things? I think they're like 5 gallon. You put them on the little cooler and you tip them upside down and they go blah, 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 blah. The water comes, and then you put the cup under there and it comes out nice and cold or hot depending on the system you have. I made the mistake / awesome decision to fill one of those almost to the rim, okay? I'm talking, you could not move that container if your life depended on it. I used to bet people that came over to my house, I will give you $100 cash if you can pick up that container and move it to the other side of the room. There was not a single friend of mine who could lift that off the ground. I had one guy who dragged it for about a foot, and then it shattered all over the floor. Obviously, it's made of plastic, right? So it's not used to that kind of weight when you're putting pressure on an angle. And that was a hell of a time picking up all those quarters, guys. But it was like the end of the rainbow, you know, where you're the Lucky Charms guys and you're throwing up quarters everywhere. When you're a kid, you thought, wow, that's the bee's knees right there, the big pile of money here. I'm Scrooge McDuck sitting in this gold pile here, you know. But that is amazingly easy to save a large amount of money without you even realizing that you're saving a large amount of money. But here's the trick, guys, and this I was taught by my grandma. Do not touch that money. Hide it. Put it in a closet. Put 58 cents in one day, 22 cents the other day, $1.50 the other day, and before you know it, you will have hundreds of dollars in a big jar. And here's the cool thing. This is the cool thing. You want safety? I'll give you safety. If you filled up a Culligan water thing, a 5-gallon water jug tote thing, whether it was glass or plastic, I recommend plastic, guys. That way if it shatters, you don't get cut. If you fill that up, I would love to see a thief break in your house and try to pick that up and steal that. He would not get out the door. I guarantee. They're hundreds of pounds. It's amazing how much coins weigh. If you buy one coin box from the bank, we used to buy coin boxes to look for silver coins. You know, you buy a whole, it's called a banker box. It's like a big roll. You get a bunch of rolls of nickels and dimes and quarters. We used to buy those, right, back in the days as kids. And, you know, we'd save up, like, I think it was like $500 for quarters. I think it was like $500. You get 50 rolls in a box, and then you open them. You take out all the silver ones, and then you put all those in a bag. You take them back, and you cash them in. You get money. You go to a different bank, and you buy another box. And you know, back then they didn't care if you did that, but now they charge you money to do that because they know what you're doing. Plus, you're wasting their time. But I got tons of silver quarters, guys, and I gave them all to my mother. She still has them to this day. What a cool thing. But remember, that little box, my gosh, it felt like it was 25 pounds. That one little box, $500. It's a little tiny box. Go to the bank and buy one if you want to test this, and lift that box. It's like you're picking up a brick. You know, we used to call them bricks, a quarter box brick. It's so much weight for coins, and people don't realize how much coins weigh. So I would like to see somebody try to break in a house and steal a jug like that. They'd have to take them out a handful at a time to get them out of the house. But holy cow. All right, guys, ramble on. Be safe. This was another update with these two systems here. As you can tell, I love talking about solar. I drive my wife crazy with it, but you know what? Deep down, she really likes solar too, so she pops in the room and tells me all kinds of new things that she saw. Bluetti has this, and Goal Zero has this, and you know, so we are hooked on solar, guys. I think this is going to be a hobby that's going to last a very long time. It has already multiple times changed my life. As far as what I need it for and what I use it for, it's unbelievable. No more smog, gasoline, fire, carbon monoxide from motors. My life has changed 100%. All right, guys, ramble on, be safe, and I will definitely see you on Ramblin Bob Reviews. Don't forget to smash the like button and be a scriber. Bye, guys.